Hi there. So today I will talk about Mahatma Gandhi and how he has brought India into independence. So let's explore further. First, what is a nation? Different people may have different view on the definition of nation, but in my view, nation consists of a large group of people unified by a common language or culture. That's what makes them similar to each other. As in the case of nationhood, it can be seen as the quality of being a nation or the fact of achieving national independence or authority. A nation can form through geographic isolation or breakup of treaties. For example, in the case of Pakistan, it forms from the separation of Hindu and Muslim in India, where the Hindu lives in India and Muslim lives in Pakistan. Here's a little bit about Mahatma Gandhi. His name is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and was born on the 2nd October 1869 in Porbandar, India. He is known as the father of the nation and his fighting principle is based on non-violence. Gandhi was also a shy student. He got married at the age of 13 and at the age of 18 he left India to study law in England. He then worked in South Africa for 20 years. In South Africa, Gandhi was a victim to prevalent racial discrimination against the Indians. He was thrown out of a moving train for occupying a first-class seat despite having a ticket. He was also attacked by a train conductor for refusing to move out of his reserved seat. Gandhi began to question his people's freedom. He stayed in South Africa for 20 years to help the Indians fight against the British. He made speech and spoke about oppressions suffered by the Indians. He also helped the Indian fights by opposing British law and ended up going to jail. However, finally the British government was forced to accept Indians as an equal citizen. After successfully helping the Indians in South Africa to achieve their freedom, Gandhi returned back to India in 1950. In India, he used the principle of satyagraha to achieve Indian independence. Gandhi's concept of satyagraha is based on non-violent resistance. Satyagraha has been the basis for achieving Indians' independence. Satya simply means truth and graha means through force. In 1835, the British government imposed tax on the Indian salt. They created salt law and made it illegal for the Indians to collect, produce, or sell salt. Anyone who produced or sells salt could be imprisoned for 6 months. Gandhi found this unfair and decided to protest. Following this, Gandhi organized the Salt March on 12 March 1930. With 78 people, they are known as the Freedom Fighters. Thousands of Indians joined the march to protest against the British rule, salt tax, and the unfairness of not being able to produce and sell their own salt on their own land. He regarded the Salt March as a battle of right against might. The Salt March was an important part of the Indian independence movement. It was a direct action against the British salt monopoly in colonial India and triggered the wider civil disobedience movement. Gandhi led the march from his residence near Ahmedabad to Kaso village of Dandi located in Gujarat. At the end of the march, he picked up some grains of salt from the seashore and took a pledge. He said, "With these crystals of salt, I am going to shake the foundation of the British Empire." After preparing salt at Dandi, Gandhi southward along the coast producing salt. Following this, Gandhi and 80,000 Indians were arrested. This has drew worldwide attention to the Indian independence movement through extensive newspaper coverage. Following this, finally, Gandhi was released from the prison and was called to England for negotiation. The Salt March was based on Gandhi's principle of non-violent protest as emphasized in Satyagraha. In 1942, Gandhi launched the Quit India movement. The Quit India movement is based on the demand for independence. Following this, Congress leaders and members were arrested as a last resort attempt at stopping out the protests. The war had taken its toll on Britain and effectively brought an end to the empire. At last, the British government transferred the power back to India and released all the leaders that were imprisoned. Gandhi has always struggled for the freedom of the nation, and finally, on August 15, 1947, his long journey came to an end when the British government made way for the freedom of India. It was an emotional moment when the whole nation stood together and celebrated the independence of India. However, the celebration came with a broken heart between the partition of India, where, under the leadership of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the Muslim community demanded for Pakistan. Gandhi was completely broken and tried to persuade Jinnah and the other people for taking back the demand for Pakistan. However, India was still separated into two divisions where the Muslim would live in Pakistan and the Hindu would live in India. Unfortunately, on the 30th of January 1948, Gandhi was assassinated by Nathuram Godse. Nathuram was a Hindu nationalist against Gandhi's favor for the Muslims. Overall, Gandhi is known as the father of the nation. He cared for both Hindu and Muslim. His principle of non-violent civil disobedience also inspired world leaders such as Nelson Mandela. Based on the discussion, Gandhi has shown us that by a simple act such as standing up against injustice, he has successfully shook the foundation of the British Empire in India. Gandhi has also showed us that by working together, even if each one is as small and powerless as a salt, it can make a huge difference. Furthermore, the worldwide news coverage of the incident of the non-violent Dandi March has completely shows the effectiveness of civil disobedience as a technique for fighting against social and political injustice. Most importantly is Gandhi's non-violent principle has successfully brought India into an independence without having to sacrifice blood of their people.